Paul Fosterbell.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow on from my distinguished colleague. Sir, can I begin by paying tribute to Dame Thea Muldoon, who passed away peacefully yesterday at the age of 87. Dame Thea was, obviously, she held the courtesy title of Lady as the wife of Sir Robert, but in her own right, I think it pays to point out she was made a Companion of the Queen's Service Order in 1986 by the then Labour government, and actually a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, so a Dame in her own right in 1993 in the New Year's Honours, for the contribution she made not only as a very dignified First Lady of New Zealand during Sir Robert's premiership, but the innumerable community and charitable contributions she made. So I think it's appropriate that we all in this House pause for a moment to pay tribute to Dame Thea. Sir, this weekend we have an opportunity not so much in New Zealand, but we will do very soon in the near future, thanks to investment that this government's making in ultra-fast broadband and the soon-to-be available Netflix service in New Zealand to see the next season of that much-awaited series House of Cards, which is released midnight Eastern Standard Time in the United States. Sir, this political drama, for those who haven't seen it, features the machinations of an American political character. I don't want to give too many spoilers away for those who haven't seen the first two seasons. But needless to say, these are the Machiavellian machinations of Frank Underwood, a political character. And I'm not going to take a cheap shot at the opposition, sir, but one could make any number of comparisons between Mr Underwood and some of the more Machiavellian characters across on the other benches there. But for this government, I think it's a very positive mark of our level of contribution to developing ultra-fast broadband throughout the country, that in March that Netflix service will be available, and as we roll out UFB to households throughout this country, New Zealanders will be able to take advantage of much faster speeds and get modern access to the sorts of entertainment that those in other countries overseas enjoy. Sir, this morning on the Education and Science Select Committee, we heard in public hearings from a couple of our tertiary education institutions, the TEC, the Education Commission, but also Education New Zealand, some very positive work that's been done under this government's stewardship to help not only develop New Zealand's economy, but to get better outcomes for New Zealand students, to make sure young Kiwis have an opportunity to get a great education and go into good employment, and also to make New Zealand a friendly place and a welcoming place for international students to come. I was delighted, sir, to hear of the effort and work being done to boost Pacifica and Māori trades training. And the Chief Executive of the TEC pointed out that at the moment we've gone from about 1,000 to 1,400 over the last year since the announcement in last year's budget in 2013 of that extra investment. So it's sitting at about 1,400, and he fully expects over the next couple of years that number to go up to 5,000. Those young Māori and Pacifica trades trainees are going in to a system which will help them ensure they get jobs. In fact, the employment rate coming out of those qualifications is very high, and that work has been done in partnership not only with educational institutions but with iwi like Ngāi Tahu, particularly in Christchurch, and building companies like Hawkins Construction to make sure that those young people are well equipped to participate in the modern workforce and take advantage of some of the economic gains that this government has hardwired into the economy over the last 6 years. Another very positive story that we heard in that committee, sir, was around international students, and I was delighted to hear that we had a massive growth, a 10% growth over the last 2 years in the dollar contribution of international students to the New Zealand economy, from 2.6 billion to 2.85 billion, and we are on track and fully confident that a $5 billion contribution by the year 2020 can be made. Not only do those students cross-subsidise young New Zealanders doing courses, but actually they are creating a business network and a political influential network around the world that will be favourable to New Zealand. They're also giving the New Zealand students a cross-cultural platform and a level of competency, including from languages through to just understanding other people's lifeways, which will be very valuable and serve them well going into the future. Sir, this is just one small example of the excellent work that this John Key-led government is doing.
Good speech. The time for this debate has expired. As this is the